What's going on, guys? MDLP from the Battle Axe, the Strongman Gym in Miami, where strength is everything. Well, I just made my hair worse. Holy Moses. So, I got asked a question by a young man on the Instagram, and he was real cool, very flattering, and he asked me that he's 15 and he has trouble with his squats. He says his upper back tends to bow over. Now he's a bigger boy. He's a football player, so he's probably pushing well over 200. It looks like. So this is something I actually see a lot, and there's a lot of people with this problem is that when they're squatting, they actually bow over, and the barbell just kind of breaks them in half, whether it's an Olympic lift or a box squat, high bar, low bar, whatever it is. I won't get into the specific of where you place the barbell. I don't want to even get into that. That's a whole nother video. But from experience, from what I've seen, from what I've learned from other lifters, this is where I've learned to. I used to have a similar problem, and I'll go ahead and start on a list. I normally just make it up, go off on this tangent, but I really should start writing shit down because I'm forgetting everything. And when I try to recap it at the end, I fuck it all up. So the first one is obviously mobility, and that means to be a more mobile, hostile athlete, you need to go ahead and release those shoulders and pecs. So a lot of times, especially for guys who have a big bench and they're good pushers, have a lot of mass here, and just to get under the barbell, put the barbell in their hands is a bitch. So you don't always have to grab the bar so close. You might even go, further out on the bar, even on the power ring. I like to put my index finger on the power ring, sometimes a little further out, depending on the situation, just inside the rack. So loosen up those pecs, loosen up those shoulders. I like to do band flies, the lacrosse ball, some band in my shoulder. Get this area very loose and relaxed, which will allow for a lot easier movement on the barbell, so you don't become so kyphotic, which means, it's a great word, by the way, but you don't just bow over inside like this. Also, ankle mobility. Get your ankles looked at. A lot of times when people's ankles and heels are coming off the ground, it's obviously going to, push your knees in, which pushes your chest forward. That's a big deal. A lot of mobility starts from the toe up. Toe up from the flow up? Yeah. So Donnie Thompson has a lot of these things. He taught me a lot about mobility on the ankle. He's a big fan of that. Look up his videos. The man knows how to squat. Good friend and mentor of mine as well. So just look those two up. Work on your ankle mobility and your pec and shoulder mobility before you squat. So that's a huge one. Get that loosened up. The second one I would do is really work on your upper back strength, meaning work on isolation work. Again, accessory and bodybuilding work. One arm rows, trap pulls, rear delt work. Strengthen those back muscles so that you're actually, chest up and you're not this like typical meathead and you're bowled over and kyphotic. Rear delt, upper back, lats, erector muscles, just kind of pull your back straight, which is really going to help you keep that back very straight and very strong as you sink into the hole. You're welcome. So those kind of movements, those kind of like, look up a lot of body. There's so many things. You go bodybuilding.com or just Google back exercises. There's tons of them. I prefer a lot of things. Obviously, reverse hyper, pendlay rows, any kind of like seated or bent over reverse flies, band face pulls, that kind of stuff. And I like to hold the movement for a minute or a second or so in the back to really get that endurance in the back. So that's a huge thing, and I think that's just great. I don't want to get too complicated and name too many things, so we don't get too crazy. And one movement that I don't know if it's controversial, not everybody does it, but one thing that I really like to do is to work on my pause squats. So aside from isolation, let's say you're a 400-pound squatter, I'd probably start working pause squatting about 50-60% of that, and stay in the hole at the bottom of the hole, and that's what she said, and keep your back straight and try to stay in there for about 2-3 seconds and then explode up. Always strive for speed and power out of the hole. But when you're in there, I do the pause squat for a few reasons, but one of them is to build my confidence and endurance in there. So just like a first date, you don't want to be fucking up in the hole. So once you're in there, keep that back straight and tight and know what it feels like to be in there for a little longer than normal, so you build a big confidence. So eventually you can even push into the 75, 80% of what you can do by pausing at the bottom. Helps your hips, helps your mind, helps your back. That's why I like to do it, and it's been helping my squats out a lot. So I hope this works, little brother, and I think that these kind of ideas will really start to build your confidence in that squat and hopefully take away some of those muscle imbalances and mobility, okay? So cheers and thanks for tuning in.